we're a perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, how some guy
We
from
let him hang out,
Michigan,
but besides that,
guys from Nebraska, from San Diego, and we've become bosom buddies pretty much.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Welcome to the Decode Podcast with Elias Malfovan, Daniel Stanfill, and Sean Kincaid.
we are here at SMTA International 2025 with the Decode Podcast, and our esteemed guest we have with us is Robert Boguski from Datest. So, Robert, will you share this? This event's pretty massive. We've got all these people here that offer different things, different sectors. Like Datest kind of gives it away in the name a little bit, but will you tell us what you guys do?
We deliver bad news.
Yeah. In the form of your board's not working right, or
In the form of your board's not working right.
Yeah.
However, the good news is we can then tell them it's not working right for the following reason. This resistor is the wrong value. You have a lifted land on this IC. You have a fatal void on this BGA. You have a placement error here. You have a solder splash there. You have an embedded short in this bare board. That's what testing reveals. And it establishes a path to corrective action. It first identifies the problem at the symptom level, and then we have tools to identify the actual defect at the root cause level, which then enables the customer, whether OEM or CM, to take whatever appropriate corrective action is necessary.
So quality control, making sure bad product doesn't leave the facility, but also informing the process. Like here's where it went bad. Here's how to make it not go bad again, right? You're getting to the root of it, not just go, no go.
Yes, it can be go, no go, but it can also identify process drift. If you start to see tendencies which repeat, say you're testing a lot of 100 boards, and at some point in the process at board 32, the same error begins to repeat itself. In that case, we would stop and call the customer and say, customer, this is what's happening on each board. Would you like us to proceed all the way through? You run the risk of it being the same on each board, and we're going to send you a bill for that, which we would dearly love to do. But then you're going to have to rework them, bring them back, and pay us a second time to repeat the process.
Yeah.
So it's really your call. But we see ourselves as an integral part of the manufacturing process. We're a canary in the coal mine. We're identifying process anomalies, hopefully at a small level, before they rise to a big level. That's what testing and test engineering, if it is done right, is all about.
Talk to us a little bit about the equipment that's being utilized in these processes.
Sure. We operate a wide variety of testing and non-destructive failure analysis equipment. We operate in-circuit test systems, flying probe test systems, AXI systems. The acronym means automatic X-ray inspection. JTAG or boundary scan test systems, which are touchless or leadless digital tests to identify faults embedded in a board if the proper access exists. And then we have a whole suite of X-ray and CT scanning equipment used to inspect and identify process and board anomalies at various levels.
So non-destructive testing, that's
Correct.
how you can find an embedded short.
Right. Right. So customer, in that case, we kind of divide ourselves into two businesses these days. We have the test engineering business, and we have the failure analysis and imaging business. The failure analysis and imaging business was an outgrowth of the test engineering business. The test engineering business has existed since 1984. That's what was there when Datest opened its doors, primarily in-circuit testing in those days. And then we added the additional capabilities with the passage of time and increasing customer requirements. We got our first X-ray system in 2009, and we've added 4 since then to match capabilities with requirements. to the point now where we have many, many customers who aren't even going through our testing business. They get them tested elsewhere. Maybe they're a large tier one doing their own testing, but they can't figure out why something failed. Maybe it failed on the bench. Maybe it failed in their tests. Maybe it's a field failure. And they'll bring it to us exhibiting symptoms, certain symptoms, and say, Rob, crew, this BGA is failing. We don't know why. Image here. Or sometimes even more specific than that, we want you to image at these specific I/O pins on the device. We want you to look at AB 1 through 9. Ignore the rest of the device. Take images there. Tell us what you see. Sometimes it's a blind test where they don't want us to know other than it's problematic, and let us come back to them and say, yeah, you've got a head and billet defect at this pin. You've got a crack here. You've got a short here. You got a misalignment here. You got a cold joint there, whatever. And that's what we do. And usually sounds relaxed. It's not. Usually it's under very tense conditions because the one board represents a much larger quantity, either active production or maybe a warehouse full of finished goods, and something's suddenly been discovered in the field and they're panicking thinking, oh my God, am I going to have to screen 5,000 boards? We have done that before. Good from bad because of that anomaly. Or something went wrong and they need us to validate the correction before they kick on the production line again with confidence. So any of those scenarios could play out in our business. The common denominator is time pressure. Usually it's close to the end of a financial reporting period, or they've got a goal to meet, they've got a deadline to meet, and time is of the essence.
Sure, because nobody budgets time for something going wrong, right? So by the time it gets to you, it's like, we need it now.
What could possibly go wrong? I have the perfect process.
It's funny because like our whole, like a lot of the platform we try to tell people what we're going to do about at the trade shows is problems and solutions, right? And that's kind of like your whole
existence.
Right? It's problems and solutions. So it's funny.
The dirty little secret, just between us guys, is automation is great for business in the test engineering field because it makes defects happen faster.
So the getting's good.
Job security.
How do we do it? Volume. So
Okay, so say as a small CM, I want to buy my own test equipment. How would you be able to support me in that? Because I probably, if I've never operated a flying probe before, probably not just a out of the box.
Just turn it on.
Yeah, plug it in and just hit go, right? Or
how hard could it be?
Just put it on your floor, plug that sucker in, hit the switch.
It's automation, right?
Rock and roll. And cash is flowing.
All right, give us the reality.
Back on Earth, what actually happens is they will purchase a flying probe, and it has to be compatible with the machines we're operating. You know, we're a SPEA house, so we operate SPEA flying probe equipment. So a customer purchases that make and model of equipment, and what happens over and over again is management doesn't think through the personnel requirements necessary to operate that machine. There is a fairly high level of operator skill required to operate these machines efficiently and profitably. And so they'll place an order for a machine at a trade show, perhaps, and these machines often have 6-month lead times. So they'll wait the 6 months. The machine will come in from Japan or from Europe, wherever it's manufactured, put on their floor. Only then does it dawn on them, I need a programmer. Where am I going to find a programmer? Well, Binghamton University does not mint programmers. You can get electrical engineer, a good one, but there is no set curriculum which enables one after 6 months or a year to be certified as a flying probe programmer. You have to have somebody with aptitude. You have to have somebody with knowledge of basic electrical principles, who can read schematics, who can understand interrelationships in electrical networks, and also can think in 3 dimensions because probes move in X and Y and often in Z. and they're on a machine moving in X and Y. So someone has to think spatially.
Yeah.
And those people make good candidates. Pick and place operators actually make excellent flying probe programmers in many cases and flying probe operators. But management in their myopia don't think about that. They've got the machine. Maybe prior to getting the machine, they were paying our company to do all their programming and testing. And they reached a point where they said, hey, we're paying these guys a couple $100,000 a year. We can now justify our own machine. But they didn't go the extra step and think about what they needed to staff it. So what happens is they'll get that machine, and then we get another panic call, which says, Datest, keep helping us until we get someone trained up, which means we're going to be helping them for a minimum of 6 months, because that's what it takes to get a really competent programmer, and often a lot longer than that. So we we transition from being programming and testing to programming only. We'll generate, debug the program for them, and then we ship it to them, usually by internet, FTP it to them, and either they install it on their machine, or if they don't have the capability, we do it for them. We can log in remotely to their machine, do the installation, make sure it's running properly. We'll use one of the commonly existing remote login packages and monitor it online for them, make sure a board can run, and then off they go. And if after that they get stuck, something doesn't work as advertised, we usually get another call, help us again. Yeah. This isn't working. They work fine on our machine, and we'll walk through the steps and help them again. And this is how it works.
Rinse and repeat, huh?
Rinse and repeat.
So companies are making multi-six-figure investments, but not augmenting it with the human capital to try to complete the circle.
Oh yeah, I can give you half a dozen examples in the past year alone where we've been in that situation. And some of these are very large, very reputable companies, name brand companies you would immediately recognize.
I'd like to talk about a little bit where I first seen you was on Monday night at the SMTA Awards event.
Sure.
And I could just tell there was a passion in the speeches you were giving. And you could tell that SMTA has been meaningful to you.
Instrumental.
Yeah. And I seen too, you talked a little bit about the struggles during COVID, and I just started PCBA during 2020. So it kind of worked out well for me because I got all this equipment in, and then the government said, here's 90-day pause on your loan. And I got to build product for free for 90 days, right? So it helped me out during then, and I got to go at my own pace. And I started small with just a printer, pick and place, and an oven, nothing crazy. But I was just wondering if you could maybe touch about your journey through SMTA and what it means to you.
Sure. Number one, I have been in the industry for 50 years, going on 51. I learned to make a printed circuit board when I was 16 years old in 1975.
How did you make it?
I was in high school at the time, and my father and mother owned a bareboard fabrication company in San Jose, California. And I worked there after school and on weekends and on holidays, starting literally at the ground floor, as in sweeping it. Family business.
Yeah.
You don't get paid. You just do it.
Yeah.
You're expected to do it.
Yeah.
So from that, I learned the trade. And through high school into college, I always had that to fall back on.
That's my story too. My grandpa started circuit board fab in 72. My dad took it over, and then my whole life, that's all I ever did was.
Yeah.
But I mean specifically how, what was the actual methodology you used to make your first circuit board? Were you just submerging a piece, into the acids and moving along all the different processes, or
yes, and
etching it away?
We didn't use numerically controlled drills in those days. We used manually operated acro drills, which were bottom drills, single spindle bottom drills. Oh. And I sat there late at night with 3 panels stacked together, looking through a scope, hitting a pedal to make that bit go through. And you know what?
That's
The-
why you love automation.
The missed hole, you'd want it to occur on the second hole. Damn, it always occurs on the 3700th hole
Oh gosh.
at 10:55 at night. All you want to do is go home.
It was a little more forgiving back then, though. Bigger traces, right? So you could be a little.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
50 mil traces were cutting edge in those days. It was largely
Wow.
through hole.
Right.
You know, we weren't using pyrophosphate copper to plate in those days. We were using the ammonia-based copper in those days.
Electrolytes, probably, right?
Pardon me, it was pyrophosphate. We weren't using acid copper. And pyro needed ammonia, which of course you dump it in the tank and it go all through the plating shop and flow people out. But it's character building. But to your question, SMTA, I got involved with SMTA at the urging of a friend and colleague in the early aughts, and our company joined in 2009. And I just started showing up for technical events that I thought would be useful either to my career or to our company specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And I started attending meetings and then chapter officers meetings in my home chapter, Silicon Valley. And eventually, if you show up often enough, they start giving you stuff to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started organizing meetings and finding speakers and selecting venues and doing all the things you do to run a chapter. And about 4 years later, I was elected the VP of Technical Programs. I did that for 3 years, 2013 to 2016. I was elected chapter president 2016 to 2019. And then in 2019, I was elected to the global board of directors, and I've served on that now for 6 years. And I was just termed out over the weekend. I had my last board meeting on Sunday.
Is that bittersweet or just?
Yeah, it's bittersweet. I've made a lot of friends, really, really close friends in those years. I've been vice president of membership for the entire organization for most of that time. We went from about 2,500 members when I joined the board back in 19 to over 6,000 now.
Yeah, wow.
That's not nothing. That's
We
a big
redid the
increase.
membership structure on my watch after soliciting many members and officers. What do you want to do about that? They said, common refrain was simplify, simplify, simplify. What you have now is way too confusing. So we took 12 categories and reduced them to 6 and established the bronze, silver, gold corporate structure that we now have, and added benefits like training as a benefit of membership rather than members having to pay extra for it.
I can tell you personally, that's been huge. Like I loved that change because, I mean, the member discount was great, but even better is just having access to all of it just at your fingertips to be able to just search up anything that's in that knowledge base and have it just.
It's made membership infinitely more valuable.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And the way I've left it, there's more work going on to expand those benefits. There will be more things coming down in time. When we first set that up, it was one free course a year. Now it's all of our courses are available to members to utilize. And we have new courses in the pipeline, some of which I'm actively involved putting together, that hopefully will become available next year, and members will have access to that. So in my little talk Monday night that you were referring to, I talked about a lot can change in 6 years, and those were some of the changes. Plus, obviously, things like COVID, you know, that was a strange time being on the board where we didn't know what to do week to week, and we kind of
time being on the earth, right?
We had to navigate things just like everybody else. We had board meetings for a period of time there when the lockdowns first started. We met every week, every Friday, the whole board, wherever they were, met on Zoom for at least 1, sometimes 2 hours. And that went on for over 3 months, every single Friday. Do we keep the expos open? Do we even have SMTAI, or do we go to a virtual format? And we were relying on data that was a moving target.
Yeah.
So we had all that to deal with. And then in my personal life, I've had a lot of changes over the last 6 years too. I had a very serious accident right at the time that I was elected to the board. I was almost killed. I had a a heavy CT scanning system. We were unloading it at our facility, and it rolled off the back of a Lift 8 truck, and I had my back turned, and it landed on top of me and crushed my pelvis.
So what do those things weigh? Those aren't
This
light.
one was 3,400 pounds,
Yeah.
freighted.
Wow.
Man.
So I had 14 broken bones from that experience.
Wow.
How long did that take to get back to normal?
The better part of a year. And my wife nursed me back to health, which is good because 2 years later, she was diagnosed with cancer. And then she went through a 3-year experience with that, all the chemo and the radiation, all the treatments associated with that. And I lost her on April 6th of last year, 2024.
So sorry to hear that.
She was also a chapter officer. She was our VP of communications, and she was obviously my life partner and a partner in our business. She worked in our business too. So adjusting to that has been a tough experience, as you can imagine.
So saying the phrase "a lot can happen in 6 years" is a lot.
That's just
And I
putting it
use that
mildly.
intentionally. People who know me know my story and knew what I just said and were able to identify that. But on the bright side, I was giving an award to a person I like and admire and partner with, Jessica Malloy. And over that same period of time of SMTA involvement, I've got to know her, and we've become very close in business. So good things happen too.
Yeah, and she's bubbly and great. I think she's gonna get in her opening line, right? Like about the age part of it. I forget how she delivered it. It was like perfect.
No, she's good. She's really beneficial to the organization,
And I think that's what SMTA is about, is connecting people, is establishing networks where networks didn't exist before. I use the metaphor of concentric circles getting closer and people in their orbits getting closer, not only professionally, but personally.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much that meant to me when my wife died. So many people that are here today reached out to me. So many of them came from across the country to her memorial service in San Francisco and were there.
Yeah.
People like Mike Conrad dropped what they were doing and showed up.
I can speak to that pretty personally. At Star, I found out like seconds after I presented. I went up, did my presentation, had a message from my wife, got out, and found out that my dad had just passed away. And I just, being like around that group of people at that time was like actually really, really helpful.
It's huge.
It's a beautiful community. It really is, right? I mean, it's business, it's technology, it's all that, but it's so much more, right?
Yeah,
The friendships, like legitimate friendship. I mean, we're a perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, how some guy
We
from
let him hang out,
Michigan,
but besides that,
this guy's from Nebraska, from San Diego, and we've become bosom buddies pretty much.
I don't know what
and-
that means, but okay.
Yeah, it might not have been the right term, but
Bosom buddies. I don't
close
know.
enough, but
to the point, it's a fantastic community, and it's real friendships,
Yeah,
right? Actual authentic friendships. And there's a lot of people that we know together that would be there for us and have been there for us, right? I mean, some of the stuff that the folks that we know, it's amazing.
Yep.
It's incredible. And your story, it's hard to hear, and I feel a lot of sympathy. But at the same time, it's really cool to see that you still have like a very passionate, you're just oozing love for the industry and for technology and for sharing what you know and you've learned. So I can tell that, you seem to be doing pretty well.
Thank you. And I like sharing it with all the young people that are here, all the student groups that are here, getting them interested in manufacturing as a profession. It's a noble profession. We build stuff.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
We build really interesting stuff. If you go to the other end of the hall, one of the student posters, there's a young lady from Binghamton there with a little thing she calls a worm that is an AI controlled or manually controlled robot used to inspect the insides of jet engines. And they're in a partnership with GE Aerospace to test this project out.
And I just thought of that, and I just was like, no one's probably interested. So I let that one go. But somebody did it, huh? Wow.
Student developed project.
So that's
But
incredible.
these are our future employees. And so I want to reach out to as many of them as I can find. For selfish reasons, I might want to hire them in my own company, bring them in as interns to start with and see if they like it. And if so, you know, it's the next generation. That's where we need to work.
Well, thanks for spending this time with us and sharing what you do at Datest, and also getting personal and sharing more of your personal side too. Like, I know it's been a privilege for all of us to have you here in the booth with us, and hopefully we get to do this again.
Love to. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
My pleasure.